5 horrible crimes done by people in their 70s. Society regards elderly people as harmless and need our protection against vicious elements that target the weak and fragile. So it's a huge shock to discover that septuagenarians who, instead of being victims, are the perpetrators of crime. Meet the 5 people in their 70s who boldly defied the laws and may spend the rest of their twilight years behind bars. Number 5. Virginia Kelly. One single crime can indeed totally tarnish a good name and reputation built for years. That's what Virginia Kelly hopefully learned after getting convicted of grand theft in September 2010 in San Diego, California. What's worse was she was sentenced at the age of 75. A president of the Latino Foster Parents Association, which cared for thousands of foster children, Kelly was found guilty of stealing $200,000 worth of toys donated from the U.S. Marine Corps' Toys for Tots program. Moreover, the toys intended for underprivileged children were sold by Kelly in garage sales for personal gain. Police found 13,000 pieces of toys stockpiled in Kelly's 2 bedrooms at her home, in her daughter's garage, and in a rented storage unit. Her conviction contradicts Kelly's tireless efforts as an advocate for foster children and families, and as a 2006 recipient of the Jefferson Award for Community Service. But the law applies to everyone regardless of achievements, so Kelly was sentenced to a minimum of 60 days and a maximum of 5 years in jail. Number 4. Darlene Mays. Have you ever imagined a 73-year-old silver-haired and sweet-faced grandma as a gun-toting local drug kingpin? Not even in your wildest nightmares, right? Surprisingly, there allegedly existed one in Oklahoma City by the name of Darlene Mays. She was caught during a raid in April 2012 with $276,000 in cash, a semi-automatic pistol, a revolver, and 4 pounds of marijuana. Not for her glaucoma, but for illegal distribution in the city. The police chief in Vinta, Oklahoma, alleged that Mays was responsible for supplying 40% of the community's drugs that extended all the way to Arkansas, Kansas, and other parts of Missouri. It turned out that Mays' family had been in operation for nearly 2 decades, and the matriarch was on top of the unlawful family business. But in 2013, Mays, a retired Department of Human Services worker, was freed from the drug and firearm possession charges when her son, Jerry Van Dorsey, admitted he was the real culprit who got Mays into selling pot, and just put the blame on his poor mom when he got caught. Number 3. Dennis O'Brien. On his 75th year on Earth in 2010, Dennis O'Brien was sentenced to 2 years in jail for burglary and handling stolen goods. Nothing may seem unusual in his conviction, but the facts of his life as a convict will surely cause jaws to drop, including yours. Since 1945, at the age of 9, O'Brien has had 35 convictions for 70 crimes and has served a total of 49 years and 2 months in jail. In the 13 times that he's been in and out of prison, O'Brien was convicted guilty of robbery, forgery, handling of stolen goods, burglary, wounding, arson, and possession of a knife. It's a relief knowing that he hasn't taken a single person's life, but his list of petty crimes still makes O'Brien one of Britain's longest-serving criminals. His most recent conviction in 2010 involved 2 house burglaries in Sutton, Norfolk, and stealing of antiques worth £7,900. Authorities were able to track him down from the DNA left behind on a whiskey glass. During his most recent sentencing, a jaded O'Brien simply said, "Okay, thanks," and gave the thumbs up. Number 2. Pensioner Gang. On June 19, 2009, American financial advisor James Amburn was taken hostage by 4 German senior citizens known as the Pensioner Gang, whose mastermind was 74-year-old Roland K. They stormed Amburn's house in western Germany on that June 19th night, demanding the return of £2.25 million from their failed investment in Florida's property market. They bundled Amburn into a custom wooden box Roland made and drove him to the old man's lakeside house in Bavaria he shares with his 80-year-old 7th wife. Along the way, they beat Amburn up, breaking 2 of his ribs when he attempted to flee. He was held captive for 4 days in a makeshift jail and was forced by the German pensioners to return their investment. So when Amburn sent a fax to a Swiss bank, he included an SOS message, which the German police detected. The pensioner gang was busted, and Amburn was freed. Ringleader Roland K. was sentenced to 6 years imprisonment for hostage-taking and torture, while his assistant Willie received 5 years, and their wives got 1.5 years jail time. Number 1. Arthur, Rachel and Company. Even at the age of 74 in 2012, reputed Chicago mobster Arthur the Brain Rachel savored notoriety and nonchalantly faced another conviction. Rachel was sentenced to 8.5 years during a bench trial for racketeering and involvement in planning robberies, while his two accomplices, 74-year-old Joseph Scalise and 70-year-old Robert Puya, pleaded guilty earlier. Back in 1980, Rachel and Scalise gained international condemnation when they robbed a high-end London jewelry shop worth $3.6 million of goods, including the precious 45-carat egg-shaped Marlborough diamond. They were imprisoned in 1984 and released in 1993, but their criminal activities didn't stop. In 2010, they were involved in plots to rob banks, armored trucks, and break into the home of late Chicago mobster Angelo LaPietra. Rachel's reason for getting involved in such crimes after serving jail time in the past sounded without remorse. It's the way we are. We got nothing better to do. Well, they say wise men learn from their mistakes, but apparently not all men get wiser as they get older. We're posting more interesting videos every single day, so please subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.